Have you ever noticed how the most self-aware, emotionally intelligent, and grounded men are often the ones walking alone? Not because they can't find love, but because they refuse to lose themselves in the process of finding it. This isn't about arrogance, it's about alignment. And today, we're going to talk about the real reason why so many intelligent men are still single. Not because they're broken, but because they've outgrown the noise. 1, he's not lonely, he's selective. There's a difference between being alone and being lonely, but most people don't see it. They look at a man sitting by himself, quiet, unbothered, and think something must be missing. But here's what they don't get. He's not avoiding love, he's avoiding chaos. For him, silence isn't empty, it's peace. He's learned the hard way that the wrong connection can drain you faster than solitude ever could. He's been through that kind of relationship before, the one that looked beautiful in the beginning, but left him emotionally bankrupt in the end. He remembers the weight of trying to fix someone who didn't even want to be healed. The feeling of being used for his calmness, his wisdom, his stability, only to be blamed later for being too distant. Now he's done playing that role. He no longer chases love that comes with conditions, where his peace is always the price. He's not impressed by temporary excitement. He doesn't need constant validation. What he values now is presence, someone whose silence feels safe, whose words feel honest, whose energy doesn't drain but adds peace to his already steady rhythm. People say he's too picky, but how do you explain to someone who's never known peace what it costs to lose it? How do you explain that he doesn't crave a partner just to fill his nights? He wants someone who understands his quiet. He'd rather drink his coffee alone than sit across from someone who doesn't really see him. He'd rather walk home alone than walk beside someone who's mentally elsewhere. His standards aren't high, they're healthy. He's not lonely, he's selective. And that's what most people can't stand, that his happiness no longer depends on being chosen, it depends on being at peace. 2, he's too aware to pretend. An intelligent man doesn't fall for illusions anymore. He used to. He once believed words over actions, promises over patterns, but time taught him that people lie in tone, not just in sentences. Now he listens to energy. He notices the way someone talks about others, how their eyes move when they say, "I love honesty." He picks up on hesitation, on the tiny pauses where truth hides. While everyone else is falling for charm, he's watching character. That awareness, though, it's a double-edged sword, because when you see too clearly, you can't unsee. When you feel too deeply, you can't unfeel. He's been in rooms full of laughter and still felt alone. He's had long conversations that went nowhere. He's dated people who loved his depth at first, then ran from it when it started demanding honesty. They called him too serious, too intense, too observant, but he wasn't any of those things. He was just awake. Now, he doesn't argue. He doesn't chase. He doesn't explain why he walked away. He's learned that emotional peace is worth more than being understood. He knows when affection turns routine, when effort turns mechanical, when attention feels like a favor. So he steps back quietly. No drama, no closure, just distance, because pretending is poison, and he'd rather be alone in truth than together in illusion. 3, he's not waiting for a perfect woman. He's waiting for a real one. People think intelligent men are single because they expect too much. They don't. They just expect something real. They're not hunting for perfection. They're craving truth. He doesn't care about how put together a woman looks on social media. What gets him is the kind of woman who's present in silence, who doesn't panic when things get quiet, the kind who doesn't need to perform to feel valuable. He admires authenticity, the kind that shows up without a filter, without rehearsed words, without trying to impress. He wants to talk about purpose, not gossip. He wants to laugh over shared memories, not trends. He wants to feel seen, not studied. The problem is, not many know how to meet that energy. Most people confuse peace with boredom. They think real love should feel like fireworks, but he knows it's supposed to feel like grounding. Steady, calm, safe. He'll wait for that. Not because he can't find anyone, but because he refuses to lose himself again. He's tired of half connections that fade when things get real. Tired of pretending that chemistry is enough when there's no emotional safety behind it. So yes, he's single, but not by accident. It's a choice, a patient one, because deep down he knows it's better to wait for real than waste time on almost. 4, He's done with emotional performance. He's not interested in relationships that look good in pictures but feel empty in person. He's done playing the emotional theatre where everyone acts fine while silently falling apart. He used to think love meant endurance, staying even when it hurt. But now he knows love without truth isn't love at all. He's had partners who posted pictures about happiness but avoided hard conversations, who said "I love you" but couldn't listen when he said "I'm hurting." He's done with that kind of pretending. What he wants now is emotional honesty. Someone who can say "I'm scared" without shame. Someone who knows that real love isn't about always smiling, it's about showing up even when it's messy. But here's the catch. Most people aren't ready for that kind of openness. They call it too much. They call it heavy. They call him difficult. But he's not difficult. He's clear. And clarity is uncomfortable for those who live behind masks. He won't sugarcoat his truth just to be accepted. He won't lower his emotional standards just to be understood. He's not afraid of being alone anymore. He's afraid of losing himself again, trying to make others comfortable. And that's the thing about emotionally intelligent men. Their peace comes first now, even if it means walking alone. 5. He values peace over popularity. In a time where everyone is shouting to be heard, the intelligent man finds peace in silence. He's not interested in proving his worth online or posting his relationship for validation. His life is not a show, and love is not a performance. He used to explain himself, defend his choices, try to make others understand his quietness. But now he lets them misunderstand, because peace doesn't need to be explained. You'll notice he moves differently. He's not everywhere, not talking to everyone, not available all the time. That's not arrogance, that's discipline. He protects his space because he knows peace is fragile. He doesn't need the crowd's applause. He doesn't crave being chosen in public. His self-worth comes from alignment, not attention. That's what makes him powerful. That's what makes him misunderstood. He values peace more than praise, solitude more than spotlight, and depth more than display. And when a man reaches that point, you can't tempt him with noise anymore. People say he's changed. They're right. He stopped chasing validation the moment he realized peace is louder than attention. 6. He knows his love is heavy, and not everyone can carry it. When an intelligent man loves, he doesn't give halfway. He doesn't say things he doesn't mean. His love isn't loud, it's consistent, but it's also heavy because it carries truth, responsibility, and emotional awareness that most people aren't ready for. He's not afraid of depth. He craves it. He wants a connection that goes beyond attraction, something that touches the soul, not just the body. But here's the thing. Depth demands honesty, and honesty scares people. He's been that man who gave too much, who stayed too long trying to prove he's worth it, who loved deeply only to be told he was too intense. That kind of heartbreak changes you. It teaches you to guard your peace like a sacred thing. Now he's careful, not cold, just cautious. He won't open his heart unless it feels safe, unless it feels mutual, unless it feels real, because he knows what happens when you give your love to someone who can't carry it. It breaks you. So he waits. Not for perfection, but for alignment. For that one person who won't mistake his quiet for disinterest, his depth for drama, or his peace for pride. He knows love isn't supposed to drain you. It's supposed to feel like home. And until he finds that, he'll stay single. Not because he's unloved, but because he's learned how to love himself right. Because here's the truth. Intelligent men aren't single because they can't get love. They're single because they've learned how sacred love really is. They've been through the heartbreak that forces a man to rebuild himself piece by piece. They've walked through nights where their mind was loud, but their soul was quiet, because healing teaches silence. He's not hard to love. He just loves differently, deeper, slower, more intentionally. He doesn't rush connection because he knows anything that moves too fast burns out too soon. He doesn't crave attention because he's seen how hollow it can be. He doesn't chase temporary comfort because he's found peace in his own company. And no, he's not perfect. He still gets lonely sometimes, still wishes he could share his world with someone who understands his stillness. But he knows that giving his heart to the wrong person hurts far more than sleeping alone. That's wisdom, not weakness. When you meet a man like this, understand what it took for him to become who he is, the restraint it takes not to react, the discipline it takes to stay kind in a world that keeps misunderstanding softness for weakness, the patience it takes to wait for love that doesn't cost peace. He's not bitter, he's not cold, he's just healed, and healing changes everything. And what he accepts, what he gives, what he stays for, he's not asking for much. Just someone who listens with her soul, not her ego. Someone who can sit in silence and still feel connection. Someone who loves without needing control, without needing constant reassurance. He doesn't need someone to complete him. He needs someone to match him. Someone who understands that love isn't loud, it's steady. That real intimacy isn't about possession, it's about peace. So yes, maybe he's still single, but he's not searching from emptiness. He's waiting from fullness. Because the intelligent man has finally learned that love is not supposed to cost your freedom, it's supposed to protect it. And until he finds that kind of love, the one that feels like home, not chaos, he'll keep choosing solitude over noise, peace over passion, and truth over illusion. Not because he's afraid of love, but because he finally knows his own worth.